I got to go through physics for some years. Well, we went so far in quantum physics, so far in particle physics, but we still could not solve some basic problems in particle physics. Well, what I'm trying now to do, I'm trying to involve some religion concepts to solve this problem or to find a solution or a target to solve these problems. Well, the beginning, we began in our physics that we have to unify the four forces. Why? Einstein taught us, was trying to do that. But is that correct? Is that the right way? We know our universe is roughly has 6 components. Einstein and others focus on the existence of one force running the universe. Why should it be through forces unification? In this study, I am searching for this unification through Abrahamic religions, astronomical hints mentioned in the books. I will behold particle physics out of physics. We know this is our universe. We still have problems with dark matter, with gravity, and of course with dark energy. Now, I am suggesting that our standard model, the current standard model, to divide it into 2 models, so that it goes with the cosmology. One model is for visible matter, and the other will be for invisible matter. I displaced neutrinos from our current standard model to invisible because it's left-handed, it's short time existent, and it has other properties than the quarks and electrons. But we know that in visible matters, we have not only quarks and electrons, we have atoms, we have plants, we have human beings. So while we want to put invisible matter in one component, let it be has many components akin visible matter, atoms, molecules could be carrying huge numbers of neutrinos. Now, what about gravity? Gravity is divided into 2 sorts, universal gravity and multi-universal gravity. In universal gravity, we know the general relativity, and we know the black hole gravity. In multi-universal gravity, we know that we have the gravitons, we have the gravitational waves, and we have the black hole's gravity. The link between universal gravity and multi-universal gravity is the black hole gravity. Black hole gravity is static gravity. Gravitational gravity, when the black hole gravity moves, we have gravitational waves, and then we have closed slits. So a graviton will not be considered as a particle. This is the new vision. We have the visible world, and we have the invisible world matter. Now, I suggest the components of the invisible world. We know that visible world is the atoms, 120 atoms. I suggest to be winds, to be axions, to be Higgs boson, to be W minus Z. All these are made of neutrinos, as our atoms are made of quarks and electrons. So this suggestion shows that invisible world matter, it has the basic one, which is neutrinos, and it has components, creatures, which could be WIMPs and axions and Higgs boson. And why we should look for invisible world to be only WIMPs, to be only axions, to be only one particle or one kind of matter. So that is my new suggestion. Again, gravitons as particles are not existed. They are black holes gravity, gravitational gravity in space-time, and gross strings and supergravity in M theory. What has to do this with religions? Now we know visible matter. We know that there are minerals, there are organic forms, there are human beings, and for invisible matters, we have what the books called us. We have demons, we have Lucifer, we have Satan, which I call them, place them in these scientific, science. Okay? Then, what about gravitons? They are the angles, they are wave frequencies, and crest fluctuation could be angle wings. So, that is how we overlap religion concept just to find answers to not be answered or to not be find a solution in our equations for decades. Now, what about field theory? We know in visible matter we have quantum electrodynamics, quantum chlorодynamics, but what about invisible? Yes, they are quantum electrobiodynamics, we can see. Now, we suggest that neutrinos will be like WIMPs. They have nothing to do, they are neutral. But Higgs boson, when it decays, it gives W minus. Find an equation which has infinity when it comes to W plus. So we will suggest that quantum field theory for invisible matter will be the electrobiological field theory. What about gravity? Again, we think there is no quantum field theory for gravity. Now, as you see, we linked the particle physics with cosmology. So I linked particle physics with cosmology when I said this particle for visible, this particle for invisible, and this is gravity. Now, we will link it to string theory. Visible matter are open strings which are attached to D4. Invisible matter, it's again, they are open strings, but they live in another dimension. Gravity, gravitons, they live in everywhere, in all our brains. Oh, this is what science says, and this what we say. Gravity is a model that transfers from wave to closed strings transpassing quantum state. Quantum, we see quantum field state because it has its quantum, which we will see later. Angle of sculptures are steering through heavens. String theory brings swearing to God. In science, we have this quotation why we suggest permanence, speed, and transition between branes, which are heavens, are properties of angles. According to scriptures, God could descend angels holding definite tasks from extra dimension brains heavens to our brain. Is that open strings of visible and invisible matter particles in string theory cannot be present without closed strings, heavens without angles. Not being able to open and close strings of string theory shows that gravity is far from being a boson like the other non-forces. We know that we can't open the closed strings, so they have their own entity. We can't overlap them with other visible or invisible matter. So, at the stage of high energy, we can't open them. So why we want to let them follow quantum field theory? Being able to close open strings enable our body to think is another answer for a question why we can close open strings and we cannot cut closed strings. If supersymmetry theory is the law of basic nature, then it requires the presence of a gravity in a way that no other theory can be assumed, of course. Now the theory, we can go further with string theory and gravity. Supergravity revealed its importance in the subsequent development of M theory. The location, shape of supergravity differs from that when it reached the 11th dimension, where according to M theory, the dimensions of the brain will become binary. The brain is aligned and wrapped at numerical contents. We used to describe the sentences, concepts of religious book by painting. But now we can do it by mathematics. Let us not look out, let's say the 11th dimension. These are the gravitons, what are the binaries. And this is where God stays or leveled on that level. So, religion says there is the 11th or the last heaven where God is leveled and the angels are surrounding the binaries. These angles has to be supergravity. That is the God throne, rubbing the seventh heavens, and the angels blazing around mathematically are the 11th dimension brain with its supergravity. Another diagram done by the concept of religion. This is the dome of the heavens. That means that is the 11th brain. Within the 11th brains, the whole brains, the heavens, the whole brains are inside that one. Around it is the water. In Torah and Quran, it says that God leveled on water. We will see water is a fluid with it's very elastic fluid. Okay? Now, let us quantize gravity. All religion and science say that gravity has something to do with time. Angels can go through our life for our time. Information. Science and religion say that gravity or angles are also going to be quantized in information, qubit or something else. Again, energy. Gravity and angles can be quantized in energy. More in temperature, same. Now, in Mendocina space, where we can close open strings. That means we live in a holographic universe, but there are other ones which we will go to in the future, and where, if we are good people, our bodies, open strings will be closed, and we can, like the angels, go to the paradise. That's why quantum is. Now, let us have this definition. Supersymmetry should be the eternity life. Brain, default to D10, are the 7 heavens of the books. Brain D3, our space-time. Spontaneous symmetry breaking universe calling our mandate space-time. Now we have something else. Sudden symmetry breaking, which I suggest, it will solve our hierarchy problem. Instance collapsing from supersymmetry to asymmetry. That is sudden symmetry breaking. Why it happens to Higgs boson? Because he is the Lucifer and W minus is Satan, and they are instant symmetry breaking. They were moved away by God from the supersymmetrical existence paradise. Adam and his super partner still were also subjected to instant symmetry breaking, that is male and female. Visible matter particles, they are our subjecting instant. Invisible matter, dark matter components, WIMPs, and are not symmetry breaking because they obey God, while the others are symmetry breaking. Gravitons are the angles, no symmetry breaking. Black hole, one of them will be the head of the books. But black hole gravity, this is the angles. Theological entanglement, the tool which picture our life events. Worksheet, the coded virtual sheet on which our life events are registered and stored. Event horizon, the place where our coded worksheet information will be just on Judgment Day. Holographic universe, our existence in space-time. Digital space, where our open strings after judgment could be turned to close and enter paradise as angels, or remain open and beyond and bound into hell direct, also by angels. Now, what is dark matter? Again, I suggest for dark matter this configuration. We have the neutrinos. With them, the duality is Z, neutral. Higgs boson, religious name is Lucifer. They are accompanied by W minus Satan. Social name goodness, related with the charged particle W plus. And so, let's come to Higgs boson, the Lucifer. It's interesting to know that Higgs boson is present with the rest of the procedures of the invisible world. Lucifer is a social entity. As our organs are subjected to immune system, our mentalities also has immune system which could be challenged by Higgs boson quantum field. If the Higgs boson decay in our organ atoms, it could convert their particle spin from right-handed to left-handed. It paves the way to weak force bosons to decay into the left-handed quarks, converting protons into neutrons, thereby producing severe electrons which will affect our brain electricity negatively. That is why there are left-handed and right-handed spins. So that we are answering all the questions which could be asked. Then Lucifer says, I will reach them, us, from any front and from behind, and from the right and from the left, and you will not find most of them appreciated. So be careful. He's here. He's trying to reach us. God answered in this whomever of them you can, with your voice, your men, your horses, and share them with sons and daughters. Promise them, but Satan promised them nothing but delusion. That is Lucifer's antithesis. Satan is related to him. Satan declares, and I will mislead them, I will entice them, and I will prompt them to sever the ears of cattle, and I will switch them to alter God's creation. That's what we call W minus dumb and changing nuclear structure. In James 1:13-15, but each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Then desire, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, bringing forth death. So, the weak forces bosons, it's not just bosons which decay some atom somewhere every 100 years. No. It's that forces, that fields which lives with us. First of them is the Lucifer, which is his boson. He is accompanying our wealth, our life, our family, our everyday, our power, our authority. He tries to change our right spin. You know, the invisible particles of our body are our right spins. 80% they are spinning right-handed. When he could change the right-hand spin to left-hand spin, then the W minus, which is Satan, will go through our atoms. And when it goes through our atoms, what it do with our nucleus? Each emit very terrible electrons. These electrons are charges. They might affect, as my friend said, our electricity, our mind electricity. Our mind electricity, we all know from electricity of the mind that our mind is working on so and hertz. And if we change the hertz of our mind, our whole mind is changing. So the W minus can go to our body's atoms as it goes to any atom. Why not? And Lucifer can decay in our atom, as we know that it could decay with any atom. But with any atom, it needs some very condition, very wide condition, but the condition here in our body is very easy for the Lucifer, for the Higgs boson, and for W minus to influence our body. Higgs boson provokes this fiery substance. We know Higgs boson, black holes are full of them. He has offsprings. He decorates and seduces. He comes in between hands and out of our hands. He captures the spoiled human offsprings. He provokes human by voice money, so he spoils the instinct of human being. He is kicked out of paradise. He seduced Adam and his super partner in paradise. We suggest electro-dark matter field, which is neutrinos or rings or axions, which are demons, are Z charge, no charge. We know that every minute hundreds, billions of neutrinos are coming through our body and going away. They are the beams and axion. But there are others, Higgs boson, which also is a dark matter component. When it comes and decays in our body, either we kick him away. We know how Higgs boson decay as Feynman diagrams, how it decays in the atoms. But sometimes it could decay and give place to W minus. That's what we say with this, that W minus, that Lucifer could control us. And we have godness. It's filled with W plus charge. We will see later how it is. We couldn't solve this hierarchy problem for decades. So I will give you this solution. Of course, Higgs boson, this is supersymmetry. This is the paradise life. Higgs boson, God replaced him for a second from the paradise to the universe. So there is no and will not be any hierarchy solution for him. He is replaced for a second. So we suggest instant supersymmetry breaking for Higgs boson and for W minus. We also suggest instant supersymmetry breaking for Adam and his superpartner, which is still not Eve. Later, Adam and superpartner became man and woman, became Adam and Eve. And he is the spontaneous symmetry breaking is in our universe pattern as space-time. That's what say, how you are fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, a son of morning. How you are cut down to ground, you who weakened the nations. Now,
Just a heads up that we're basically at time now.
okay. Now what about W minus and W plus? They are the human intimate forces. They are decaying free to travel only within short distances. That's why Satan can only work in our bodies in a very short distances. They are locally. Their spin is left-handed. The books describe good human behavior as right ones and the bad left ones. If the particles of human body spin right-handed, it means the human behavior is right. Right and left-handed spins will register on our worksheet, and all information will be revealed on the black hole event horizon on the day of judgment. Okay, some of the Satan characteristics. It's very important to know what's going on with our body.
Oh, that's true.
Who's controlling us? Good. Now, what about W plus? We know Feynman diagram, when it comes to high energies, W plus come to infinities. That is, in the high energies, where there is paradise, the W plus is infinity. Dark energy is God energy. Supersymmetry is in eternity. No machinery have been invented that explain gravity without also predicting some other phenomenon that does not exist. I predicted Feynman angles. We have two theories of gravity, but neither can predict its strength. We predicted it's universal and multi-universal. Gravitons are angles. Dark matter are demons, Lucifer and W. Higgs boson is Lucifer, W minus is Saturn. What causes hierarchy? Saturn. Why quantum gravity will not be grasped? Because Albert Einstein taught us, science without religion is lame, religion without science is blind. Thank you very much.